Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build. So before we get into the Let's Build itself, I have an announcement to make. For anyone who doesn't care about the announcement, there will be a timestamp that you can go to get straight to the episode. So, what's the announcement? We now have an Instagram page that I have made for us to meet up, hang out, and where I can post pictures and other short little videos, including pictures and videos of this little thing. He also has an Instagram page, which you'll probably be able to find because I'm going to tag him and everything. Do you want to go? Are you mad at me? You're going to cause devastation and destruction, aren't you? Probably. But anyhow, let's get into the episode proper. So you're going to have to apologize for any mistakes or for the sound quality of my voice in this episode. I am still recovering from a head cold. He's making me nervous. No, okay. Come here. You're being a mess. So, what are we doing this week? Well, obviously, from the title, you can tell we are looking at Danger Orcust. So, that's right. A meta deck. An outdated build of a meta deck. Nonetheless, because while doing my research, I didn't look at dates, and because sometimes whenever I'm trying to make a more competitive deck, such as with this, I will look up deck lists online, compare them off of each other, and make a handwritten list that I've already thrown away, unfortunately, that marks down cards that are commonly used in to kind of build a more generic example deck, instead of something a little more specified, since when you're looking up a lot of deck lists, a lot of people use specific cards because those are their specific techs, which I was trying to avoid. Unfortunately, when I made this, I didn't realize that the deck was going through a transitional period in its engines. We will get to this more in the deck profile, though. For now, we're going to talk about Danger Orcusts. Danger Orcust is one of 4 meta decks currently in this format at this time of recording, is considered one of the Tier 1 options. I am not a competitive player, and if I was a competitive player, I would probably play Rogue, playing something like True Dracos. If I was going to pick one of the 4, I'd be a Dirty Sky Striker player. But you guys already know that if you're longtime fans of this channel, and pay attention to that. So, why did I choose to do Danger Orcust then? If I don't like playing competitive and I'd much rather play pure Orcust because I like that build of the deck better to play, it's because I have another series coming up, and that first recording for the first episode kind of messed up, so I kind of already learned how to play the deck a little bit and thought, might as well finish trying to learn it and go ahead and play it. So I proceeded to do all the research and build out the deck a little bit differently than what I was playing in that. I will go into more detail about those episodes at a later time. I'm really off topic. Okay, so Danger Orcust is mostly built around the Orcust engine, although really Danger Orcust as a meta deck is basically 3 engines put into one. You're going to have your Orcust engine, which is mostly built around using the Nightmare extra deck monsters, then Girsu the extra deck monster, Galatea, and your copies of Skelly Boy, and of course your Harp Horrors. Your String Boys? I don't know. But, anyways, then you're also going to use a Danger engine, of course using the Snake, using Nessie, and of course, who could forget that sweet, delicious green Jackalope. I came out wrong. And the last engine you are going to use is a small Phantom Knight engines, mostly for the Fogblade and Rusty Bardich. So why do you use these 3 engines? Well, the whole point of the Orcust strategy, whether you're playing pure or in this variant, is basically to get 2 monsters on board and to let your engine start spiraling out of control to either get bigger link monsters or to set up a field. In the case of this, you use your dangers to help facilitate getting monsters on board. You also are going to run a very small sub-engine to help you facilitate that even more, which I'm not using the best ones. But again, that's for the deck profile. So All Orcust monsters of the main deck variety have an effect that they can be banished from the graveyard to special summon from somewhere else. So, I will go over those more in detail in the deck profile, but that is one of the things that helps get the ball rolling. But you do have to get monsters into your graveyard for that to work. So that is why you use the Danger Engine. The Danger Engine itself helps you dig a little bit more in your deck due to they do have that annoyingly useful ability to draw one card. Because for anyone who doesn't know the dangers, they all share the effect that you can reveal them from your hand, and then your opponent makes you discard one card at random. If it is the revealed danger card, it is discarded. If it is not the danger, you discard that card and special summon that danger monster and draw one card. So it replenishes the card that you had to discard, and every single danger monster also comes with a discard ability that when they are discarded, the effect triggers and you gain some form of advantage or bonus. But we will go over those more in detail later. And the whole reason you run the Phantom Knight engine is because Bardage works with Dangirsu to pop your opponent's monsters, and you can run 3 Fog Blades, which can theoretically be used as disruptions or protection in certain situations. So that's basically what the deck does. The deck is mostly made just to get monsters, set up a board, and put up resistance, and then beat your opponent into the face. It is a very explosive deck, which can facilitate many Boros Sword OTKs. Now, I prefer to play the pure build of the deck because I like playing the archetypes in the way that they were kind of designed to be played. So I prefer to run pure Phantom Knights. I prefer to run pure Orcusts. I don't run pure Danger, although that could be a future Let's Build in the future. It's a dangerous proposition, but I think I'm willing to go there. So, with all of that said and done, how about we look at the replay so we can see this deck in action? It is a meta deck, a very consistent meta deck, so I hope you're ready to see the exact same plays over and over again. Alright, so we had fun there in the replays. Hopefully you guys got to see this deck in action and can agree that this deck works pretty well. But I don't. I was actually really sick when I was recording this. I am not actually that much better when I'm not sick. It is a clear bit of warning. I have not put in the hours of practice to play this deck as well as it deserves. So it can be played better. But we are going to go through the deck profile, and enough talking about me. You guys don't care about me, or at least I assume you don't. I assume you guys are just here for the deck profiles. So you're going to start with 1 World Legacy World's Wand, 3 Danger Nesses, 2 Destrudos, 2 Orcust Nightmares, 1 Danger Mothman, 1 Dark Grepher, 3 Orcust Harp Whores, 1 Phantom Skyblaster, 3 of your Neospace Connectors, 3 Danger Tsuchinoko, and then you're going to have 3 Symbol Skeletons, you're going to have 2 the Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak, 1 Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, 3 Danger Jackalope, and of course your 2 Phantom Knights of Silent Boots, 3 Allure of Darknesses, 1 Orchestrated Return, 3 Called by the Graves, 1 Orchestrated Babel, 1 the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, 3 Fog Blades, and 1 Orcust Crescendo. So what about the good old extra deck? Well, you're going to run 2 Dangirsus, the Orcust of the Evening Star. You're going to have 1 Phantom Knights of Breaksword, 1 Boral Load and 1 Boral Sword, or Boral Bros, if you will, 1 Longirsu, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardich, aka if you're running Dark Xyz, you have to run it, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 3 3 Galatea the Orcust Automaton, which was originally on my top waifu list. You can look that up and watch it. It's a fun video. 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Mermaid, and 1 I forgot to play it in every single game, even though I use the card that it goes for in almost every single game. Also known as Link Spider. The other name's way longer. But let's look at some of the cards here just to explain why they're here. Obviously, your danger monsters are all here. Our World Wand is here because when you banish it from your graveyard, you can special summon one of your banished Orcust monsters back to the field. I hate being sick. Destrudo is here because he is another monster that can special summon himself as long as you have one other monster on your board from your hand or graveyard just by paying a measly 4,000 or less life points. Nightmare is part of the long combo. We'll showcase her in a minute because she works very well with Mermaid. Next up we have Mothman. You're only wanting run of him because you can discard him. If he gets discarded, he allows you to discard more cards to set up your graveyard for future plays. That's basically why you only want one of him, though. Dark Grepher can special summon himself to the board if you happen to have one of those pesky old level 5 or higher dark monsters, like the Dangers, Destrudo, or World Legacy World Wand. Pew pew. Harp Whore, when he is banished from the graveyard, special summons 1 Orcust from the deck. Very useful, that boy there. You have Phantom Skyblaster that when he is normal or flip summoned, special summons tokens equal to the number of monsters. Yeah, up to the number of monsters you control. Then you're just going to use those to make link material because you will normal summon him, get a token, go into your plays. Neospace Connector, when he is normal summoned, you can special summon 1 Neospatian monster or 1 Elemental Hero Neos from your hand or deck in defense position. The rest of his effect does not matter in this deck because all you're going to use him for is to special summon out Aqua Dolphin, which you can once per turn discard 1 card to set up your graveyard, look at your opponent's hand, choose 1 monster. If you control a monster with attack greater than that, equal to the attack of the chosen card, you get to destroy that card. Hand traps. Hand traps. Then you inflict 500. If you cannot, you take 500. But this also lets you look at your opponent's hand to know what you need to prepare for. Then you have Tsuchinoko. When Tsuchinoko is discarded, you can special summon this card. So basically, no matter what, if they pick him or not, you are getting Tsuchinoko on board. Most of the time, you actually want it to be discarded, so you can, or you don't want it to be discarded, just so you can see that extra draw. Next up, we have our copies of good old Skelly Boy here. You can banish him from the graveyard to special summon a Orcust monster from your graveyard. Then next up, you have your Ancient Cloaks. Ancient Cloaks can be banished from the graveyard to add one Phantom Knights card from your deck to your hand. This could be the traps. More often than not, if you're following the standard basic boring plays, it's going to be Silent Boots, because Silent Boots can be special summoned from the hand as long as you control a Phantom Knight monster. And if you're following the plays, you will be. So, we have Danger Jackalope. When he is discarded, you can special summon one danger monster from your deck, except in defense position, except himself. So, no matter what happens with him, you'll either have him and draw a card, or you will special summon one from your deck, which is deck thinning. Yay. Allure Darkness, because banishing dark monsters in this deck is absolutely great, and you will see 2 extra cards from your deck to try to get your plays going. Orchestrated Return is a card that can brick hardcore, because you are actually only playing roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 targets in your deck for it. That's still a pretty high percentage that you will open with this and one of them, but I actually do suggest that you might want to trade this out for some other card. This is one of the cards that's not actually that great and can brick very hard on you. 3, Called by the Graves, because this deck is susceptible to hand traps during your combo when you summon Nightmare Mermaid. If you get Ash Blossomed at that part, it can wreck your day if you don't have a follow-up play. I've seen that happen many times while watching people do it with this deck. Not this deck, but a deck of this variety. Your Orchestrated Babble is super important to have, and make sure you activate it when you search it with the Galatea. During testing, I a couple of times forgot to, and that really hurt. Really hurt. Because of the fact that this makes, or you can activate the effects of Orcust monsters on your opponent's turn. Yay! And if it's in the graveyard, you can discard one or send one card from your hand to the graveyard to add it back to your hand. So you only need to run one, because even if they blow it up, unless if they banish it, you can reoccur it. We are running this bad boy because he can be special summoned as a monster. And if you have no traps in your graveyard, which on your first turn you won't, you can activate it the turn you set it. Yay! Fogblade. This is one of your main forms of disruption. When you activate it, you target one effect monster on the field. That monster's effects are negated. It cannot attack, nor can it be attacked. This does stop you from attacking directly, though, so be very careful. As you saw during one of the replays, I activated it to try to stop a combo. It did stop the combo, they passed their turn, and then I had no way to get rid of either the monster or be able to get rid of the Fogblade, which gave my opponent a turn to try to do some shenanigans before I shut them down. And then you have Orchestrated Crescendo. When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated, and you control an Orcust Link monster, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. Also, while this card is happily chillaxing in the graveyard, you can banish this card, to add to your hand a Dark Machine monster that is banished or in your deck. Now, something to look out for on this card and many of the Orcust cards is that when you activate their effect, they do lock you into only special summoning dark monsters. So you can't access your Nightmare cards. Honestly, by the time it reaches the point that you're banishing these cards and activating the cards, you will have already went through your Nightmares. So you don't really need to worry about that too much. Now let's look at the extra deck. Bad Boy Dingirsu. You can mostly ignore this because it basically comes down to, if you control an Orcust Link monster once per turn, you can Xe summon this on top of your Link monster. The more important thing is that when he is special summoned, you get an option of 2 abilities, and we'll reach his other nifty ability here in a second. So when he is special summoned, and this is special summoned from anywhere, this is when he is Xy'd or when he is special summoned from the graveyard, say by the effect of a certain skeleton. You can either send 1 card your opponent controls to the graveyard, which will allow you to do a little bit of board control, but the most common thing you will do with him is attach 1 of your Banished Machine monsters to this card as material. This allows you to fully recycle your symbol skeletons and other cards, because you're most commonly going to be using it for symbol skeleton to attach it, because then you can go link it off, and it will put that symbol skeleton back in the graveyard, and if you have Babel, that will allow you to get your Dingirsu back on the field during your opponent's turn for a possible disruption. Oh, and if he has materials, if a card or cards you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach 1 material from this card instead. So he will also protect your field for you. This guy does so much. Like, he really changes up the Orcust archetype. At some point, I'm going to do pure Orcusts just so I can showcase off what Dingirsu does for their average play style instead of this giant conglomerate of 3 or 4 engines thrown together. Moving on, though, Phantom Knight of Breakswords is just here in case if your main combo blows up and you happen to have 2 level 3 monsters out on board. The Boral Boys are just here to make the answer problems, except for Boral Sword, who's just here to do what Boral Sword does best and the only thing Boral Sword is good for, which is killing your opponent in 1 big fell swoop. Longirsu, you can end with him on your main board, pointing towards your opponent's extra monster zone, which will allow you to shuffle 2 of your Banished Machine monsters back into the deck, to send 1 linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Now, something important to remember is that it just says linked, not co-linked. So as long as any arrow is pointing to that monster, even if it is their own dang old monster doing it, you can send it. So remember that. That's important. Unicorn's there just because you can go into them and shuffle a card back into the deck. Bardich. Good old Bardich. If a Dark Xyz monster is special summoned to a zone he points to, you get to destroy a card on the field. His other effect, once per turn you can activate it to send 1 Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the graveyard, then set a Phantom Knight spell and trap card. AKA, most likely are not, your Fog Blades, unless if you are trying to extend your combos. Nightmare Phoenix is just there to facilitate nightmare plays. If you special summon it in other conditions, though, you can discard a card to destroy a spell trap your opponent controls. Galatea is one of your main playgirls in this deck. She does so much for you. If she is linked, she cannot be destroyed by battle, but most of the time she's not actually chilling out on your field unless you're me and you suck at this deck. But you can target 1 Banished Machine monster, shuffle it back into the deck, and set an Orcust spell trap. This is how you will get out and search Babel, because during the combo you can do that. Now you have Cerberus, which you can, when you link summon it, discard a card, destroy a monster in your opponent's main monster zone. Again, it's useful, but most commonly you're not going to go into it very often, except to go into your Nightmare Mermaid plays. Woo, Mermaid! Might get banned, who knows? They did stuff too, they banned it in the OCG recently. Anyways, Nightmare Mermaid can only be made by linking off 1 material that is a nightmare. That's why you need to get 2 monsters on board, so you can go into either Phoenix or you can go into Cerberus. That is the whole game plan. This is the weakest part of the combo, though, as she is susceptible to Ash Blossom. And also, they can theoretically blow her up using Yuki Osagi, Snow Rabbit. They can use Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to blow up her, but you'll still get to do your search effect, but that will prevent you from going into your other links without some extenders in your setting chilling in your hand, which won't allow you to play as far. Oh yeah. And then last but not least, chilling out over here is good old Linky Spider Boy. He requires 1 normal monster. The only normal monster you have in your deck is this guy. I continuously forgot to summon him, even though I kept summoning out that little little crap head, and then I would just leave him on my board when I could have went into Link Spider, and then Link Spider can go off into your place. Why? That is the problem, is because all of your Link monsters basically require either a dark monster or more commonly effect monsters. Your Orcust monsters need to be a monster, including an Orcust monster, to make them. So you need those effect monsters. Not an effect monster because it's a normal monster. A monster. You don't care about his effect. I mean, I guess you could use... No, you can't even use it because it requires normal monsters. That's just what he's in the extra deck. Nobody really cares. Anyways, that is the deck profile and the little rundown. It's not the world's best. I did try to tell you guys the combo, but I could not list it off for you. If you would like to see a combo tutorial video, though, for Danger Orcusts, I will gladly go ahead and record one for you guys. As a matter of fact, I might do it anyways. And then put a link. Yeah. A link, if you will. Ah. They're gonna unsubscribe, kitty. I liked it. So, thank you guys so much for watching this very sick me try to get through a very complicated deck. If you guys would like to see a deck in particular, whether that be another meta deck like this one, or go back to some casual decks, or some off-the-wall crazy decks, let me know in the comment section down below. Just put the deck and I will invest along with what level you would like it, whether it be competitive, casual, extreme budget. If you're wondering, extreme budget is where I build a deck where it's either based off of a structure deck, where I'm allowed to use 3 copies of the structure deck, or any card that's in the structure deck, but all the other cards otherwise, if I'm not using a structure deck, have to be under $1 at the time of recording. That can make it really hard because you lose a lot of good generic stuff like hand traps, unless I make extreme budget salamangrites. Then I'd get Ash Blossom, kitty, instead of taking Ash Blossom to the face. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. And hey, have fun.